Already Tracy the challenge Withdrawal, allowing Glass Cannon one shot and Flashbang Revenge. So even though it's Glass Cannon commanded one shot, it's not really all that great since generally we don't really need all that much damage, as much as around 12 times damage. As intriguing as it sounds, it's maybe not all that useful since generally we won't need that much damage. And also because it's kind of still Glass Cannon, which means that we effectively have less health, and then it's still one shot, which means that we still have a questionable amount of, well, bullets that we can use at any one time, so maybe not all that great, but we could certainly make do with that as we just go through here. Decide to order the guards, and then afterwards, well, that's a lot of propulsion, which we're just not gonna question. Decide you over there before we knife you over here, which, not that complicated, we just have to try and, well, breach that over there. Hi there, you. Go over there, breach that over there, and then afterwards, for some reason, not get you over there, which is certainly quite questionable, but we're just gonna take the damage and, well, trade one mechanic for that, since we should probably get in here relatively soon, which is precisely what we're doing right on now. So we're just gonna go through here, we're gonna go over here, and then we're gonna breach that over there before we just, well, drop the dumper, since we really are unlikely to need it. It's just not really that useful, as much as, say, 12 times damage dumper sounds interesting. It sounds fun to try, it's just that it's maybe not that useful when we kind of only have one bullet left, which it's not really that great when we only have one number shot left and we're trying to use it as an effective main weapon, which we can't really do. Now, I'm not going to question how I get flashbang by that, but we did get an Aegis unit over there, or what seems to be an Aegis unit, so we're just going to stick with that. Go down over here, and then afterwards just avoid the units, because that's something that we can do, and that's something that we're going to make use of, so we're going to grab cash right now, and then we're just going to hopefully not meet any units, and maybe, just maybe, if we do meet any units, the first one's going to be a bunch of shotgunners, which will be quite stellar, because it's... Hi there, flashbangs. Because shotgunners would mean that we just have... We would first need to avoid the flashbangs, though, but shotgunners would just really mean that we... Hi there, everyone. Shotgunners would mean that we could just have a second weapon that's rather viable on one shot, which is generally a good thing, so... We're gonna let the flashbangs clear. We'll unfortunately not have any shotgunners over there, so we're just gonna wait over here instead and then just see what happens, which... Hi there. Let's just wait for things over here, and then afterwards just keep on waiting, since we would once again very much ideally have a shotgunner, which we kind of don't have, but we could certainly make do with that and just, well, hope for the best. And interestingly enough, it's glass cannon command of one shot, which means that we've got plenty of damage when we're knifing, which is great and all. It's just, once again, not all that useful. Now that seems to be a shotgunner, so we're just going to wait slightly further away so that we could hopefully have him just in range over here, which is just stellar, but I suspect that the shotgun might have been flinged a bit further than ideal, which is maybe not all that ideal, but I would say we could get ammunition over there, but that's certainly not the case over here, so we're just going to not do that. And then we're just going to hopefully get some ammunition rather soon, which we don't really have the luxury of, but we could certainly make do with that as we go through here, and then afterwards just not have any units over here, which is certainly a pleasant surprise, but we're going to go back through here, and then afterwards so far still not meet any units, which is generally absolutely fantastic, so we're just going to run through here, and then, well, continue to not meet any units, which I must say is certainly great. So we'll just run through here, and then afterwards get stuck on that before realizing that we probably shouldn't be out over here, because that's maybe not a great time to be in a gunfight, to say the least, but we could still try to be in a gunfight. It's just that it's probably not going to end all that well, which we could always try wallbanging. It's just not maybe the best idea, but it could certainly make do, and, well, we're certainly still alive. We just need units to not shot behind us, because that would be quite unfortunate over here, so we're just going to avoid dying, because that's also a rather important goal over here. So as we take care of you over there, and then run through here, because for some reason there aren't more units over there, we're just going to grab some medkits, because we can most definitely do that, and then afterwards we're just going to generally defend and stay alive. Now, I did use a lot of medkits, but then again, it's better than just waiting, let's just say, another 10 squads before we finally run outside to just, well, drop the one last bag, which we... Hi there. Which we would... It's great and all to just not take the damage, but then again, we're spending a lot more time, and it's also more time to potentially take damage in, so... All in all, maybe not all that great. Now, if only I could just not get flashbang for a bit, which would be quite nice, so that I could actually go outside and get some shotgun ammunition without, well, risking a terrifying amount of damage, but we'll let the flashbangs clear before we even consider doing that, which certainly not happening, but then again, the sniper wallbang is certainly very powerful, which it's great, just that I would still really, really want some shotgun ammunition, which I don't really have, so we're just gonna do that before we go over here, and I'm gonna back up a bit further so that we hopefully won't get wallbang, or more accurately, flashbang all at once, because it's... I find it quite unlikely that we're gonna be wallbanged over here, mainly because the walls here are just more akin to being actual walls rather than just a sheet of paper, which famously isn't really all that great at being covered, so we're just gonna leave it at that, and then we'll just clear it over there. Now, once again, some actual shotguns will be much appreciated, we just don't actually have them, which is a bit of a shame, so maybe right now we could actually go up over there and get it, which they're not shotguns, but there's not really much else that we can do, so we're just going to go over here instead, and then we're just going to continue waiting over here. Now, seemingly Sparrow's much closer now, which is generally great, since we could get out of here sooner, and we aren't really doing all that badly on medkits, which we're just going to leave that over there as we run through here and grab more medkits, because that's something that we can, well, very much do, so we're going to do just that before we grab a few more medkits, and then genuinely start considering maybe healing up and grabbing something. It's just that we still don't really see any shotguns, which, you know what, we're healing up. And then we're gonna go straight for the shotguns because, well, they're shotguns and, well, it's kind of great as long as the shotgun doesn't get flinged to, well, not somewhere very close to where we would ideally want, because then that makes it much harder to grab, so in other words, something that's not all that great, but things are fine right now, and we're just gonna leave it at that because things being fine is generally a good thing. And for now, we're just gonna wait for more units to show up, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a bit more shotguns, even though we don't really need much more at this current point in time, so we're just not gonna grab much more since it's, quite frankly, unnecessary, so for now, we'll just wait over here, keep using the CHA, and we really shouldn't run out of ammunition, which... just gonna back off for that. And seemingly, once again, we don't actually have any shotgun ammunition, which is perfectly fine by me. I'm still gonna avoid a flashbang over there, though, since it's not all that great to get flashbang, even though they're not really all that significant anymore, since we have two people all over here just to be able to vaguely shoot the flashbangs and hope for the best, which... I'm just not gonna look at that, because that was a... That flashbang was dropped as a result of Flashbang Revenge, got flinged all the way over there, and then bounced back all the way over there, which is perfectly valid, it's just questionable at best, so we're just gonna let a flashbang clear before we post up back over here, and then we'll say hi to the CBRC over there, which... not really all that throw to see, because it's a rifle, and they can most definitely wallbang this part, which... That was not the cue, but sure, we're just going to do that over there. Let the... For some reason, have that happen yet again, so we're just gonna heal up yet again, and then afterwards... just let Cyber post up for now, because that's probably gonna end up better for now, so... Right now we're just gonna run through here, hopefully not be any units, which so far we're successfully doing. And then we're just gonna say hi to all of the units over there, which is great and all, it's just that they are... But then we'll have to run over here, hop through here, and then afterwards just connect this over here before any units show up behind us, which, considering that exactly that's happening right now, we're just going to quickly connect it and then run out of here before we actually get a chance to heal up, but things are perfectly fine because we, well, quite simply, magically get out of here, so that's a daily challenge that in just under 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Cheers everyone, have a great time!